Welcome to Conversations with Malik podcast, coming to you from Long Island, New York. I'm glad to have you and thank you all who are listening and watching this show.
That's right.
This podcast is about the stories of transformation of regular people during the basic struggle and pain of life. Everyone has a testimony. We all have survived the darkness. Now let's talk about how we got to the light so we can help our brothers and sisters who still haven't overcome their demons. But guess what?
Talk to me, my brother.
We all have devils on different levels. So through conversations, we use the tools of insight to light the path of hope. Let's have a chat and stop running from our issues. If we live through it, then talking about it probably won't kill us. That's what we're doing. Talking, crying, laughing, joking, looking inward so we can grow outward is the theme of this show.
That's right.
The caterpillar transforming into the butterfly is the goal and purpose of this podcast. When you talk about you, I learn about me. Iron sharp as iron.
Steel sharp as steel.
So we can cut through the fog of despair into the hope of today. Welcome to Conversations with Malik. And before we start today's show, please don't forget to follow us at convoswithmalik.com, convoswithmalik.com.
Con W Malik, Instagram.
And listen, we're here featuring Jeff Jones, the
Yes,
co-host
sir.
with the most. How you doing, man?
Can't call it good day. Heart beating, beautiful.
We
Beautiful
still
weather.
listen, we still here, we working, listen, this week has been like with all that's going on.
Little
and,
hectic, yeah.
with the family the past month, man. But we still here. I'm still pushing on. Please, we just ask everybody to please, like us, subscribe,
Share us, love us.
love us. YouTube, Conversations with Malik, hit the bell.
Website. I mean, we here, man. I mean, you could catch all our episodes in all different platforms for the most part. Apple, iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean.
Yeah, and before we start today's show, I just want to shout out everybody who's instrumental in helping out with the show. First off, I want to give shout out to our engineer, Kareem the Dream, Raheem, for, just the great work he does with the sounds and the
right.
production.
Justin Moss.
Justin Moss, man. Wendell's not here today. Wendell, the cameraman with the plan.
We got a team, my brother.
I got names for everybody.
Cameraman with the plan.
Cameraman with the plan. And listen, I want to shout out to Dawn Michelle from Dawn Michelle Promotions.
Yeah.
Thank you to you for all that you do. And, we blessed to be here, man. And listen, we here. We have a great interview today. We have multiple people in the house.
Multiple people.
So, we just doing word of the day, which is going to be activism.
Yeah.
We're not going to do guest this, and we're not going to do current events. We're not going to do any of our black, business stories for inspiration, because we got stories of inspiration here.
We got some stories here. Mm-hmm.
We got some stories here. And you know what? I'm happy to always have guests.
You know what? Imagine if we didn't have guests.
Well,
Like how
we
would
could
we
just
do
do
that?
the show.
I mean, we just
Me,
talk
you, and
about-
Mona could come.
That's true. We could talk.
But
We could talk.
But the guests make it special.
Yeah, it puts a little twist to things,
Man, you get to hear people's stories. I've met like a lot of incredible people since we've been doing this, man, and it's just
Some of the ones that cried. We need to have that.
some of the ones that left that didn't want their interviews played. And I'm like, you gave one of the best interviews.
And they didn't want us to air it.
Now you don't want to talk about,
How about some of the ones that came in with a story but didn't want to be transparent?
Yeah. And you asking them questions like, well, how you get that damn scar in your head? Yo, man, so listen, let's go around, man. And first of all, never be caged as a totality is in the house. Never be caged is in the house. But listen, we're gonna start from our right to our left, and one of the brothers is in it now. We're gonna get him in, and listen. First off, we got our sister. I will introduce the sister first.
Yeah.
Okay, we got Shaniqua Charles, executive director of Miss Abby's Kids in the Bronx. Give it up for Shaniqua. Yo, we got my brother here, Donnie K. We gonna call him K-Born. I'm calling him K-Born. Forget the, how you doing, my brother?
Peace.
Yeah, listen, we got him in the house, man. And, he has a wonderful organization. They came from the Bronx. Listen, they drove from the Bronx to get here.
BX, baby. BX.
On the traffic. How was the traffic?
It was pretty good, Came through the Whitestone, so we took the back way. So we got to
White Stone. Okay, could have did Throg's Neck.
No,
Could have did Throg's, yeah. Could have did Throg's Neck.
White Stone.
Yeah, we took the Throg's Neck. So,
And listen, so as we go on in the interview, we have another brother that we're gonna bring in, you know. And first of all, I like how he's representing
you better.
his organization. You know, he got the coat and everything. I said, wow. I made me want to join.
Once he came in, you feel the presence, you know, like once he came in. I mean, what he had on, his attire and everything, so you just felt it.
Yeah. So we got the brother William Evans from, you know, Neighborhood Benches, and he's in the house. And we was talking about this stuff all week. And you know, I sent you over the you know, because we know from last week. Yeah. And I sent you over the 3 bios. Mm-hmm. And I was like, it's always good to have interviews with multiple people, you know, at one time. So, you know, we're just, you know, we'll go, well, the word of the day is activism. So we usually choose our word of the day based around who's here. So, you know.
Don't toss it to me. You shoot it.
Well, why can't I, listen, why can't I toss it to you? So,
because you usually tell me what the word of the day ahead of time. So
but today I didn't.
Today you did.
So you need time to think about it.
So I need time so I can put it on
So basically you're full of SHIT because you want to bite off kind of what we say, right? So I'll start. So you know, activism, first of all, activists in the community are, I don't know where we would be if it wasn't for the community activists. And what they're doing and what their organizations are about is
change.
It's change.
Mm-hmm.
Is, you know, sort of like what the word says, they're active in the community. Mm-hmm. They're active agents of change. And where would we be for the people who didn't give their lives and sacrifice themselves, sacrifice their time, effort? Some of us paid the ultimate price.
Yeah.
And not just the people that you hear about all the time. Mm-hmm. All right, Brother King, you know, ultimately died for us. You know, Malcolm, you know, died for us. But there's other people that are not as popular. They also died too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just going back from my ancestors. You know, there's people that was like helping other people get to the north and they got caught, lynched, killed. You know, we don't talk about them. They made it possible for some of the people who made it to the north and got their freedom, who, you know, did change to help in slavery. You know, they don't even got graves, man. They somewhere in Louisiana just rotted in the tree, fell in the swamp, maybe got ate by some gators.
Or fed to some gators.
Yeah.
Or fed to some.
Yeah. Or fed to, yeah, that's true.
You know.
And a lot of the law enforcement now is using a lot of these individuals to actually help them, you know, crack certain cases and crimes and stuff like that. Just like Nipsey Hussle, you know, right before, you know, he was murdered, he was scheduled to have a meeting with him, with Jay-Z, with the commissioner of LAPD about, you know, reinforcement and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And just changing how things go in the streets between the gangs and stuff like that.
Yeah, he was an activist.
He was an activist, you know. And most people, and what I'm hearing, I mean, I was a fan of Nipsey. I listened to his music, but he never had really music that was actually on radio as often. He was able to get an award for a best-selling award, but you know, I respect the brother because I knew from before his passing that he did a lot for the community and for kind of, listen, them areas is rough, man. Crenshaw, Slauson, for you to have to put yourself out there, it's a lot, you know, and you helping people. He's even gave people money, you know, and gave them jobs and stuff like that because he made that area, you know, he bought out that whole area right there, that little mall, that little mini mall. He bought out that whole area right there. Even in prior, y'all YouTube it, you see like prior interviews and where he's talking about where some of those stores was actually grocery stores and
sell his mixtapes in front of it.
And sell the mixtapes in front of it, you know. So that brother did a lot, man.
Yeah.
He's an activist, man.
So Shanika, what does being an activist mean to you?
So, thank you for that question, because I was actually thinking about that earlier today in deep conversation with another sister around what activism actually means. For me personally, it is number one, honoring our ancestors and the sacrifices, the ultimate sacrifices that were made even before they made it here. Like the action of jumping off the ship so that they would not, bring forth children that would be enslaved. Like when you think about that,
Wow.
So activism is the giving of yourself, the giving of your energy and your time, the honoring of your ancestors to make sure that future generations don't experience the injustices that are part of your time. Envisioning a world that exists past Friday night, past next weekend, past what are we doing this summer, and really focused in on children that you'll never ever meet because you literally wouldn't be able to live to see your great grandchildren. That's what activism is to me, being able to really hone in on and care about and love deeply people that you haven't met and that you'll never meet. Yeah.
Wow. What about you, K-Ball?
Well, activism to me means like change. It means like, somebody that's willing to put something before they self. It's a bigger picture than just you. It's like you're willing to come out and you're not worrying about the payment of it. You're going to put it out to work. You know what I'm saying? Actions speak louder than words. So you got the acting in ACT too. I figure like the brother Malik was saying, you got brothers that and heard of, like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, but then you got brothers that's so strong that you never even heard of, or you heard of them, but probably never knew that they do the work. Like look at Jim Brown. For the last 30 years, anything that peace treaty, anything that happened in LA, you gotta go to Jim Brown.
That's true.
You gotta go to Jim Brown. If Jim Brown say you gotta pass, you gotta pass in LA. When the peace treaties come and all that, Jim Brown is out there, Muhammad Ali's daughter is out there. So it's a lot of people that, they don't gotta be all with the sparkle and the fireworks when they come out.
Yeah, but they hold heavyweight.
Yeah, they hold heavyweight.
That's a good point.
That's a good point, yeah.
That's a good point, man. So listen, our brother's gonna get a chance to talk about it when he come on. But so talk to me about your organization and what it is that you do in the community.
You wanna go first, Kate?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Okay.
Well, the name of my organization is I Am My Community. And the reason why I named it that, because I am a part of my community, and in order for me to make a change in my community, I got to start that within myself, and then I can travel it on. I used to go through a lot of trials and tribulations when I was young. My moms and pops passed away when I was young, so I got locked up 77 times. And it seemed like it was nobody really there helping me in certain areas that I needed help in, So I sat back after I came out and repeating doing the same thing and not seeking the help. I made a pact with myself that I'm not gonna sit back and watch somebody else go through none of this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta get locked up one time because I already got locked up 77 times. You know what I'm saying? So a wise person learn from his mistakes, but a wiser person learn from the mistakes of others.
Yes, sir.
So, I was working with jobs that was dealing with gun violence and stuff like that. And, it is gun violence around my community, but also it's people that's homeless, it's people dealing with mental health issues, it's people that got family problems, it's people dealing with custody battles. So, all of that started hitting me. Right. So, I had to focus off that. So that's why I named my program I Am My Community. And with I Am My Community, we basically deal with public safety.
Okay.
Because everybody want to invest in this, invest in that. You can invest in $50 million worth of property, but if everybody's dead, what's the sense you have in that property?
That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? So public safety is the main key that I put in it. And I do that through mental health awareness classes. You know what I'm saying? 1 out of 5 people nationwide suffer some type of mental health illness. Right. It's a big stigma around it, so nobody really want to go get help because the first thing when somebody come to you, what you gonna think? Oh, man, they think I'm crazy. Right. Not everybody that's dealing with mental health issues is bipolar or schizophrenic. You got people that eat too much.
Right.
You got somebody that's a thief. You're a kleptomaniac. You got a mental health issue.
Right.
You may like to start fires. You're a pyromaniac. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? You know, everybody's not dealing with medication when they start dealing with mental health illness. So, you know, I do that, and then I got parenthood classes.
Okay.
Because, you know, this is the era where I have never seen so many disrespectful people, youngins, towards adults.
Yo.
You know what I'm talking about? And it's spread from the house, the outside, to, you got little kids 2, 3 years old putting their hands on the shoulder and wrinkling their eyes up and, you know, F you in this. So, you know, we try to bring that back. We'll take a whole village to raise one kid.
Yeah. Yo, K-Born, it's funny you said that.
Yeah.
Because I was telling Jeff, I was in the gym, and it's this old school cat named Divine. You know, we know he, you know, first of all, he did time for murder.
Yeah.
But there's a couple people who I know who he killed, right? I know who he is. So we in the gym, he comes in the locker. He's doing great for himself now. He's been out a long time. So he comes in, so there's these young kids over by the locker. I'm in 24-hour fitness. I just came out of this thing where I'm changing. I don't know him personally, but I know who he is, right? And so he comes over in between them. I was telling you about this. He comes over in between them. He's like, yo, excuse me, beloved, let me just get my stuff out the locker. And at this point, like already 3 people had asked the young kids. They must have been like 17, 18. Could they get by? Because they're just in there talking. People are trying to change and leave. So he was real humble. Yo, excuse me, beloved, let me just get by. And by this time, the kid was frustrated. He said, so he moves and, you know, Ron grabs his stuff. You know, he still got his like towel around his waist. He just takes his stuff out so he can move and change someplace else. And you know what the kid said? He said, yo, man, I should have slapped the SHIT out of that. And I'm sitting there like,
that's not the dude for you to be.
I'm sitting there like, you don't even know who, first of all, he's ripped and cut. I think he would have beat all 3 of them. You know, I mean, he's a brawler from back in the early 70s.
Right.
Penitentiary tested.
He would have probably whipped all 3 of y'all. But not only that, you don't even know who that is. Y'all are so ignorant.
Come on.
You would have slapped who? Are you serious?
Lucky he didn't even hear that.
You could have heard that.
Yeah, and he was so, you know, because that's how the real G's move. They very respectful. They hold the door for you, you know, and because they don't got nothing to prove. But to your point, it was, even when we was out there, it wasn't like, yo, man, if you needed to get your stuff fine, we moved for people.
Right.
We held the doors and we was like really cornered up out there. But even with that, the people from the block felt safe.
That's right.
You know, we would, you know, so-and-so's coming home from church, we helping her. Hey, how you doing, Miss Johnson? I help you upstairs with the bags. But their level of disrespect and ignorance, Kay, is something like, yo, why are you gonna stop somebody from wanting to get their stuff out the locker? Which we're all in here changing. And I said, yo, man, these guys got some problems, man. Serious, like their level of disrespect and how they talk to people out.
And they take it to their house too. Tell their family, tell their moms, you gonna slap your moms, you gonna slap your pops. You know, like, I know you ain't just said that, man. You know, like, if I would have said that at your age, you would have never got to meet me. I wouldn't be sitting in this chair right now.
I'm trying to tell you now.
Brother would have been here talking about, yo, what, 30 years ago, it used to be a brother named K-Bone.
Right.
Yeah.
I hear them out talking with their mothers at bus stops, train stations, and then this one kid turned around and asked his mother for money. We were in the mall, he's giving her mouth, she's buying him sneakers and stuff, and then he turns around and asks her for money. And I said, and she gave it to him. And I said, see, that's the problem.
You know, and well, you know, one thing I noticed this too, that like a lot of things changed with the kids, because when we was young, right? Remember, like, if somebody could bother you all day. Hey, what up, man? Call you applehead, do this, slap you in the head, keep you around. It's all right, you may let that go, because, you know, you was taught not to fight in school and all that. You know, all right, we let that go. But if they said something about your mother, the dude could have been Andre the Giant. You could have been this small.
Great point.
we got to fight today, man.
Oh, yeah.
Great point.
You know what I'm saying?
Great point.
And I always tell people like this too. But then once the crack era came out, and then the people that was in our house, that was your hero,
Yeah.
that you would fight anybody for. Now this is the same person that's taking your stuff and stealing your PlayStation, and your grandmother gave you $30, $40, and they took that, and nothing can't be nailed down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You got food in there, they selling the food.
Right.
So, you know, they say everything started at home.
Right.
So a lot of that started in the house.
And it left a generation gap, and it left a void
Yeah.
because they took a whole generation
Right.
Yeah.
of
And it-
brothers
it
from off
absolutely
the
did.
street.
Yeah.
That's a
But
great
in
point.
society right now is different because there's a lot of young parents
Yeah.
that really not prepared to be parents.
Uh-huh.
You know, I mean, there's really no book or something to read, but it's role models that help you become better parents as well too.
Mm-hmm. But then, you know, in that era of time, you know, it was, like I said, it had a village to raise one kid.
Yeah.
So it was all right for my kid to go down the block. If my kid was down the block acting up and Malik had to jack him up, my kid ain't gonna come home and tell me that. But
Right.
the first thing I'm gonna be like, what you was doing down the block?
Anyway.
And then I'm gonna jack him up
Right.
twice. But now they changed it where when my kid come in the house and go, Malik jacked him up. Oh, I'm going down there to look for Malik. And don't you ever put your hands on my kid.
Yeah.
Your kid was down here breaking windows. If somebody would have came out there, could have got hurt. Well, you don't put your hand on my kid.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, something actually do happen to this kid.
Yeah.
And then you sit there like, man, I wish I would not got in the middle of that and let Malik went down there and corrected him.
Yeah.
You know
what really
take a
hurt me
village.
when that the young brother, I don't know why I didn't forget his name, got stabbed up.
Junior.
Junior.
Yeah, that's where I live at. Not
Yeah?
far from there.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What was the atmosphere like in your area at that time?
You know, I mean, to tell you the truth, man, you know, with all these leaders, so-called leaders and politicians and the hospitals and all that, they don't really do too much in our community at all. You know, they get on TV and they talk a good one, but they actually don't do nothing. So it's been a whole bunch of killings and crime around there before Junior died. Actually, it was somebody who got killed in that same store named Junior. About 5 years ago, but was a little older than Junior.
Was that ever mentioned on the news?
I mean, they ain't gonna mention it on the news, but you know, everybody in the community know it.
Okay.
So being that is people were so into the regular norm, could you believe it that when they stabbed up Junior and everybody going through this, somebody got punched in a coma down the block like 2-3 days later.
Wow.
For nothing. They just walked up to him and punched him out the next week. You know what I'm saying? And right after that, a couple of more weeks, another guy got punched into a coma up on the same community. So the community is pledged with people feel like it ain't nothing here. I ain't got nothing to lose. I ain't got nothing to gain.
Right.
Whatever.
And that's where y'all come in with the work that you guys are doing, and I see that you got I Am Peace. So you're promoting peace there in the Bronx. What's some of the biggest challenges for you that you face in your walk in promoting peace?
Some of the biggest challenges I think that we all face in trying to get through to young people and combating what's not happening inside the home is just that. The influences that were part of the traditional family, when you had your auntie in the building, you had your mom in the house, you had your dads, you know, there. Some of the biggest challenges are the people respecting in general when they don't respect their blood family, right? So like how K-Born was talking about earlier, you know, the infiltration of like crack and heroin in our communities was intentional to take the mind away. And then you couple that with mass incarceration, and then now taking all of the strong figures, taking the men out of the community. And then now you have generations of children that are literally raising themselves. And then what doesn't make that any better is that it's then coupled with all of the images in the media. It's no longer the time where you have people like, you know, Bill Cosby back in the day. I'm not talking about, you know, or trying to unleash that can of worms in this moment, but respecting the fact that like he had paid psychiatrists and you know, mental health folks in his staff to make sure that every single image that was put on television about a black person was a positive image.
Right.
I literally wanted to go to college because of a different world.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I didn't see other people in my community going to school because we was trying to figure out how to eat, quite frankly.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So those are like some of the biggest challenges, and quite frankly, you know, just being able to uplift people to the point of love. It's hard and sad to think about being a human that doesn't love their blood, that don't love their blood brother
Right.
or their blood sister.
Right.
So now you come out into the world, and if you don't even have love inside the home, what do I need to listen to you for? What do I need to listen to you for? What do I need to engage with you on? How can you tell me anything if you're not, either putting money in my pocket, I'm out here in the
Right.
street doing what I'm doing, but you're
Right.
not gonna pay me. I'm out here doing what I'm doing for these guys. They showing me love, taking me, buying me sneakers, getting me clothes, and you telling me not to, pop off on somebody, but you're not doing what they're doing for me. And so then the street, becomes, sometimes it's a place of love, but quite honestly, it's also a place of destruction. So really demonstrating what it is that you're trying to get across, or the messaging that you're trying to share with people, I think is one of the most effective ways. And like everybody, both of these men, I watch them on a day-to-day basis. We're surrounded by other individuals who care so deeply that we go 25 hours a day.
Yeah.
That will stop in the middle of a fight. Hold up, what's going on here? That you'll respond when somebody gets shot and killed on the corner. That you'll take somebody that don't have food and go get them something to eat. That when the lights go off in your neighbor's house, you run that orange electric cord, the extension cord, so that their food in the refrigerator don't go bad. It's all the way down to little things like that, and having that sense of community. But our elders are missing.
Yeah, I like to add on to that too.
Okay.
I say the main problem that come down to me when I'm in the community is a lack of funding. And it's a lack of funding from the politicians, it's a lack of funding from the churches, it's a lack of funding, it's a lack of outreach coming out of them, out of everywhere, out the hospitals. The hospitals most of these kids are born in that's heavily addicted to drugs and that's mentally ill, and they running around your community, but you still collected money and budgets for your hospital, but once they was born, you just left them out on the street.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We got a lot of these churches that got a lot of space in the back that we could be going there having summits. We could be doing peace dinners. We could have community or town halls, but you only open up the church on Sunday.
Right.
And the rest of the week, but you getting tax money
when the
off of
collection
it.
plate
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah, you getting
Or it
tax
could be
money off
after
it.
school programs
Yeah.
and creative arts programs,
Yeah,
bands.
you're not allowed on the spots, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They also go with the Muslims too with the mosque, you know what I'm saying? You're only using it on Fridays, but
Right.
it's 6 more days that we could be. Yeah, that's a good point. Holding down in the community, you know. That's a good point. So that's one of the things that, it's like, taking it back to what you said, like with the junior situation. The junior situation came, right? You had the governor came out there and said he's giving $8 million to the Bronx, right? Then you had Carmelo Anthony and all them coming out there, right? Then you had Cardi B and all them coming out there, right? You're not supporting us if you only came out here to take pictures. When did you leave? Nothing.
Right, we
You
still
just
can't
came
find
out
it.
here, you took some pictures, everybody was here. What did you leave for this community?
Yeah.
Did you come over here and say, well, I'm here, I'm out here, I want to see a change? Well, I'm going to donate a couple dollars for a community center.
Right.
Well, I'm going to donate a couple dollars for here, like, basically what you came here for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You drove out here, and that's what, that seemed to be the new thing. It's like when a fight happened. Instead of breaking up the fight, everybody pull out a camera.
Right.
It's the same, everybody want to be there for the hype,
Right.
not really to solve the problem.
Right.
You guys are doing a great thing, and with the community, which is excellent, and I like to hear stuff like that. My question is, because after this whole Nipsey Hussle thing, as we all know, a gang member that he knows was the one that murdered him.
Yes.
And there's a lot of people speculating a whole bunch of stuff, even basically saying, like, with the whole social media and stuff like that, and people posting stuff on social media, people that want to play roles like you guys as leaders should fear their lives. How do you guys feel sometimes at some point, being such leaders like you guys are? Do you feel like you should be feared sometimes, or do you feel feared like somebody would probably try to harm you because you guys are such leaders and looking to make change?
I mean, like, things happen because you gotta look at it in Ferguson. After Ferguson and all that went down, like 7 of the activists just end up dead.
Yeah.
And none of the cases are solved, nobody don't know nothing, So, you know, but that been happening since the beginning of time, man. You know what I'm saying? When the people was freeing slaves, you know, they had, you knew he was taking a risk. When Malcolm X came out, he knew he was taking a risk.
Yeah.
When Martin Luther King came out, he knew he was taking a risk.
Yeah.
Mandela did 27 years in jail. You know, and sometimes for change, you got to put that in there. You got to take that chance.
And that's part of, and it all goes back to the question that you asked earlier about, you know, like what being an activist or what being a leader actually, you know, means. And that's a huge part of it. Like the risk factor. I remember, was it last year when people, my daughter and I were going back and forth to Washington D.C. to make sure that the protest to the Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh was, you know, didn't go through, and for like 2 months somebody was taking the air out of my tire of my truck.
Wow.
For 2 whole months, like every other day that we would come outside to the car and I changed the tire, I rotated the tire, you know what I mean? Do I have a slow leak? No, that one tire, like every other day, had no trying to, you know what I'm saying? And it could be overt, it could be very covert.
Yeah.
You could use somebody that you know is an enemy of someone to actually do the physical in your face harming, but it's all, you know, strings on a puppet. You know what I'm saying? It's all strings on a puppet. I know daily, I commune with the ancestors every day. Just please keep everybody safe.
Yeah.
Please keep everybody safe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm willing, and everybody in this room here that you have here is willing to live and die for our people. So, you know, like just to, you know, the fear thing, are you fearful? I'm not fearful, but I'm cognizant.
Okay.
Right. And on that note, we're going to go to a quick break, and then we will be right back, and we're going to have neighborhood benches
Yeah.
Surf
in the
right,
house.